Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. Now, I know last week I talked a little bit with Kate Machado. She's a registered dietitian. I know that I've told you guys I was going to sit down with her, and I know it feels like it's been forever, but we finally got our schedules to work. And today's topic is just kind of demystifying what it means to go see a dietitian. And I know that many of you are scared to call a therapist, and we're scared to see our doctor. Even making an appointment can send us into a frenzy, right? So we want to make sure that we feel okay and we know what to expect, because a lot of times we're just getting anxious because of the unknown. It's scary when we don't know, right? So I guess my question for Kate today is just tell us a little bit about what the first session will look like.
Well, obviously it will look a lot of different ways, but I think the first thing to maybe think about is, well, how do you find a dietitian that specializes in eating disorders in your area, or in the area that your eating disorder is in? Because again, the more specific the better, but it just really depends on the individual. So like you were saying, it is really anything new can be anxiety provoking. So looking for a dietitian, well, how do you judge? You base them on their name, on their location, on a picture you've seen on the internet. I mean, none of that is going to be a good indicator. I think the best way to find a dietitian is through a referral, whether you're seeing a therapist who can refer you to one that they work closely with, or a doctor can refer. There are a lot of really good websites out there that Katie probably has listed on her references page that you can look for that refer to specialists in eating disorders as dietitians. And then make a phone call. See if you can have a good conversation with them, if you like the rapport. But if you don't feel comfortable, you're interviewing them first. So if you don't like the way it's going, say, okay, well, thank you. I'll call you back if I want to make a time. And if you do want to go forward and make a first appointment, just set that up. And the first appointment, and right now I'm kind of talking about an outpatient basis first, and then I'll get to the more of an inpatient basis. So if you want to make an appointment to see a dietitian outpatient, the first session will usually be between 1 to 1.5 hours. Okay. And that will generally cover everything from the history of your eating disorder, how long you've had it, what kind of treatment you might have had in the past, what behaviors you are currently dealing with, what you did in the past. And then it will definitely include a lot about food and possibly your weight and the history of maybe your physical changes or any kind of medical conditions you've had. And so that's usually, as I found, the most kind of fear-inducing part for a lot of new clients that come in, because it's really personal to tell this stuff to someone you don't know, especially since often eating disorders are kind of private, kept secret. So then telling somebody that you're not that comfortable with all of your secrets, and then I know there's a really big fear of being honest, because what if we are judgmental? What if we come across as being like, oh my God, that is so disgusting, I can't believe you've done that. And for me, and any good dietitian I know who works with eating disorders, has no judgment when it comes to meeting new clients, to treating clients. There is probably nothing we've not heard before. And not just that we haven't heard it before, but it's part of the eating disorder, and everybody's different and is going to experience their behaviors in different ways. And the most important thing, I think, is that you can be honest to us. Because as a dietitian who may be addressing really specific issues when it comes to, well, how much were you really eating before, and what foods can you eat, and what foods make you sick, or you have really intense reactions to, in terms of psychological or physical. But if you do not tell the whole truth, I can go around in circles and in days and give you all this great advice that I think I have that really is useless, because it might not be based on what truth you have told me.
Yeah.
So for me, that is probably the biggest part of the first session, is having someone come in. They may have their general data, which is, age, height, kind of basic history of themselves. And then it would be applying kind of a program to their situation at the time. But I can't do that unless I'm feeling like that person is willing to try it at least, and open to some of the suggestions. So that might mean someone's coming in, maybe they've had an eating disorder for, a year, and it's been getting a lot worse, and they're not really eating very much at all on a daily basis, or, keeping a lot in on a daily basis. And so it might just be increasing the amount of times you eat a little bit at a time. And that can be, really scary. But any first session would just be about really small steps in the beginning in terms of an outpatient basis. And then we would see how that goes for the first week. And at that point, I would usually recommend a weekly reoccurring appointment until there's pretty good progress being made. And then kind of on the flip side of it, if I am doing an initial session in more of a treatment center basis, a lot of the background information I may have already gotten from the other treatment team members. And so yes, I will collect that information again and just get to know the client, and hopefully, the client will like to be working in this kind of manner, and then really start addressing a lot of the food issues when it comes to how much, when, where to eat, what types of foods to eat, how to do it, and really, really practical information. I think that can be one of the hardest things when it comes to maybe therapy or treatment. A lot of it seems really like big scope, like, okay, well, just get over your anxiety and, just eat again. It's really not a problem. But it really comes down to the specifics, like you have to eat this thing at this amount at this time, and then tell me about it right after you did it, and what did you feel? So it's not like you're doing it completely on your own by yourself with no support. I think our biggest job is, we may put out some recommendations and then seeing how you did with it right away, and then addressing everything from there based on those first experiences. But I think for me, when I see new patients in whatever kind of level, I would say a good part of any first session is really just about building a rapport with the client and getting to know them, because everybody is really different when it comes to how they take an advice or, feel comfortable speaking with someone else. And so it's may seem kind of really easy the first session, because it's not that hard, unless you're not comfortable talking to somebody. But that's kind of the benefit of maybe doing this video right now, is to understand what it will feel like and kind of preparing for that first session.
Yeah, definitely. And like Kate said, and like I've said to you tons of times, everybody's different. So any first session, we're just trying to get to know you, make sure you're comfortable, make sure we have a good working relationship, because we're working together. I'm always saying we and us, because it's a team. We're all working with you. You're not alone, and things will be hard, and we're going to challenge you, because otherwise we're not doing our job and we're not a good part of your team, So it might feel like we're pushing you a little bit, but it's just to be honest, to get the honest input from you, like, well, I tried this, and this is how I felt, and I couldn't do it, and it didn't work, or this happened, because then we take that information, we almost like put it back in our machine, and we try to come up with another option. So I think
it's all, and that's the importance, I think, of seeing an individual dietitian or an actual in-person, because they can take what you're saying, what you're feeling in the moment, or what's going on in your life at that present time, and find a way for you to get through it. And for me, it's with food, or it's with eating and getting the support you need to eat. But it's really, really doable. And, as many times as I've heard, that patients aren't looking forward to seeing me, or that, they are really upset that you have given them extra food to eat. I have no hard feelings towards anybody, because when somebody goes through and comes out at the other end of recovery, they are so grateful that I was there, and we just laugh about how mean they were to me, maybe, or, they were really afraid of me. And so none of that scares me. It doesn't scare me away. It doesn't push me away. It doesn't make me dislike somebody. It's just the eating disorder. And that is what I'm dealing with. So I'm not really intimidated by that at all. And I think any dietitian who's familiar with eating disorders is the same exact way. And more than anything, we just obviously want to help. But some of the biggest things that we deal with, some of the biggest fears are, well, how much am I going to have to eat? Am I going to get fat? What does she know about me? She's blah, 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 looks a certain way. And a lot of, I think, we get kind of put on the spot, like, well, what are you eating? And, well, why do you do that? And obviously that's just the eating disorder trying to find a way. So we always just turn that back around and work with the client and really just address somebody where they're at with the team we have.
Exactly. And those will be all the other questions that we'll answer in future videos with Kate. You know, I know that a lot of you do have those concerns, and we'll talk about them and address them and kind of show you how we use them in our sessions and what she does when she works with you developing meal plans and what that kind of looks like on the other side. So I hope that was informational, and we will keep doing more of these videos as we keep taking one step at a time towards a healthy mind and a healthy body. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because then when I post my next video of sitting down with Kate, you'll be notified about it.